What's up, you guys? It's Matt here. So a lot of people want to know about Rocket Mortgage. I've seen a ton of information on Rocket Mortgage. I got this in my stream where people called this out, and I wanted to break this down because it's definitely interesting. I kept an eye on it, and it kept moving today. It was something that didn't really start off the best as something you would think as a squeeze, but then obviously started to catch a lot of traction. Now, we'll get into this in a little bit. Before I start, please hit that like button. Also hit the subscribe button for more videos like this one, and make sure that you get your free stocks with Webull down below. Now, if we look at Rocket Mortgage here, you're going to see exactly what it did. I mean, you see a lot of increase, and we'll break down the chart in a little bit, but I wanted to get into some of the detail here because sometimes we obviously miss some of this detail, and I don't really go into the news too much, but with a lot of these meme stocks or heavily shorted stocks or hedge fund supported stocks, I guess, I don't know what you want to call it. All of these stocks, you need some of the news for. You need to understand exactly what's happening, and Wall Street Bets tends to call it out really quick. But Rocket Mortgage jumped 70% today. Crazy, right? It's crazy to see that. But the main reason why it's doing that, right, it has nearly 40% of its available shares sold short. So seeing a large portion of the shares being shorted, I don't know what at what interest rate it actually is, but seeing a number of shares that are actually shorted is very interesting to a lot of people. I mean, absolutely a lot of people. So closed Tuesday at a 71% increase, which is $41.60. Obviously made some moves in the after hours market, which we can get into in a little bit, but also made some moves downward in an after hours market. We can talk about that right now. So as we look at the chart, you can see that it had a slow day. A lot of people were like calling this out when I was in the pre-market. They were like, hey, check out Rocket Mortgage. What do you see with Rocket Mortgage? Well, when I looked at a lot of the detail here, I can tell you that we've seen a large increase. I didn't know why the increase was actually happening. Once you started to see this over a couple of days, you've seen a huge increase. And people really didn't call this out. I checked Wall Street Bets, didn't really see too much, and then obviously there was a lot more detail to it, to where you have 40%. You have a lot of people that are backing this because of the short position that hedge funds do have. Anytime we see a hedge fund go heavily, short on an area, it looks like we're looking to push that position up. So you can see the crazy increase that it did have, 71% above, or increase over that price from close to close. But you can see exactly what happened in the day. So let's go ahead and look at exactly what was going on today. You can see that it started out with an increase to where people would accept that as a great increase, right? A couple of dollars up to $30 is a great increase, right? Did decrease a little bit, flattened out, kind of had a little bit of upward trajectory, but it flattened out for the most part. It didn't look like you've seen a crossover, which is a good indication of buying power. You don't see that crossover back from the 15 moving average down to the 200 EMA. But then as you start to look into what happens, it starts to separate here. This is where you start to see it and you're like, wait, this is definitely interesting here. Let's see where the separation goes. So you separate. Hopefully people can buy in at this point. I couldn't really keep an eye on it at this point. This was at like 12 o'clock or so, a little bit in the afternoon. And then you've seen the influx in volume. I mean, a crazy amount of volume. Look at the average volume. The average volume here is 11 million. We've seen 359 million shares worth of volume. That is crazy. I don't even know what the increase to that is. It's just ridiculous. So as you start to look at this, it starts to really increase. You did see quite a bit of a fall from $41, telling me that it is going to pull back at 41 multiple times. So if I would have seen this, I would have definitely gotten into this whenever it was at the low and I seen it push back up. But I couldn't because I wasn't paying attention to it that closely. I was kind of working. But as I seen it, after I, really started to get back into it and look at some of it, have a little bit of spare time, maybe a couple of minutes, I seen it and I was just like, this is ridiculous. Definitely get in on the fun, but I seen it pretty much too late. I didn't want to chase it. It was somewhere around here. Didn't want to chase it. But then I decided that I would get in on the fun somewhere closer to the end of the day, hoping that we would have a rally, which we ended up having a rally, but somewhere around here is where I invested into it. And ended up stopping me out with a 20-cent loss, which is cool. I just wanted to see if I can get in on any run up that I would see. And 20 cents equals to basically I bought 100 shares, which would be $20. So that's not anything that's going to, end up being a horrible situation. So that was great for me just to be able to see what was going to happen. And then being able to see exactly when it closed, it did run up, but obviously through the end of the day, or in the post market, you could see that it did decrease here, which is definitely eye-opening a little bit. So what happened really with Rocket Mortgage? Can you expect it to continue to increase? Yeah, I mean, it really just depends exactly what the volume is. If we continue to see this volume increase right here, yeah, of course, it's going to continue to skyrocket. But are we going to expect some sort of drop off? Yeah, people are going to sell off. People are going to sell their position and go from there. But it's very interesting to see exactly what Rocket Mortgage is doing, because it's another squeeze potential. Nothing that's too crazy to where you have that 100 plus percent that GME had, or 78% or 80% that AMC had. It's not something that's substantial like that, but you are seeing quite a bit of a run up here. From that $28 mark or $26 mark that we've seen in the pre-market, all the way up to $45 in the after hours market is crazy. If you would have held for literally the whole entire day from the beginning of the day until then, I mean, you're making a decent profit, 71%, or actually a little bit lower than that, but you're making a pretty decent profit. Actually, it might be, yeah, a little bit lower than that. So you're making a pretty decent profit here. But Rocket Mortgage looks completely solid. I was happy to be able to see it. And for the people that did call it out, hopefully you were holding at these positions. I did say there could be an increase in the cards, but the problem is that I didn't know the full news behind it. And that's where news comes into play. Knowing news when it comes to these meme positions, when it comes to these heavily shorted positions, is a great deal. Don't basically take my full approach to where I don't really factor in news a lot of times. But I noticed that this is a learning curve with anything that is more of a heavily shorted stock, or something that retail traders want to push forward. We need to know the news. We need to know the news not only by the media sources, but by Reddit, by these forums that are large forums. We need to know that stuff. So definitely take that into account when you see these positions, when you see these suggestions out there. See what they're doing. And I wouldn't say invest literally the whole boat, but invest some money that you can afford to lose. But in this case, I mean, you would have basically doubled your money in that case. So let me know what you think about Rocket Mortgage. Do you think it's a solid play? I'm really interested to hear what everybody else thinks. It does look like it's something that is a big mover, and I'll keep an eye out on it. It's going to be something that I add to my list, or move it up on my list, because obviously I look at some of the bigger name, heavily shorted positions like AMC, GME, Cost, Rocket Mortgage now. So that's going to be something that I really look at. Hopefully it does do something great, but obviously I still have a heavy position in AMC, so that's something I'm going to be focused a little bit more on, but I will give you an understanding of where Rocket Mortgage is and what I plan to do as it goes on, because I may invest into it, but I want to find the right point to where I think it can hold steady. Obviously down here it can hold a little bit more steady, but I would like it to decrease to somewhere around these levels, maybe $30, $35. That would be amazing, but you never really know if that's going to happen. After this point, it looks like you may have missed the train. But in most cases, I'm only looking for a $2, $3 gain, maybe a $5 gain. So that's always interesting. So let me know what you think about Rocket Mortgage. Make sure you hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell for more videos like this one. Also, make sure you check out some of the links down below. But I'm going to get out of here, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.